Where are you now? What are you doing? I asked, trembling with anger. To which my husband, Matthew, replied with a lie as if it were the most natural thing in the world. What are you talking about? I'm on a trip with Natalie. On a trip with Natalie. I knew he was on a trip with his mistress, leaving our 3-year-old daughter, Natalie, at home alone. My anger swiftly turned to a sense of disbelief and disdain. I didn't consider him as my husband anymore. I was done with him who is filled with lies. My name is Amanda. I used to live with my 3-year-old daughter Natalie and my husband of 5 years, Matthew. Matthew had stopped spending time with us. He had always left the household chores and parenting duties to me, but a few months ago, he started saying he was too busy with work to even come home. When we first got married, he used to complain about being too busy at work, but that seems like a distant memory now. He used to be careless about his appearance, but he had started dressing nice and even wearing women's perfume. I was sure he was cheating. Even though I suspected him, thinking of Natalie, I found it hard to utter the word divorce. I was not sure if it was right to take away her father because of adult issues. I spent my days in anguish over this. Then, one day, while returning from daycare, Natalie said in a downcast tone, "Does Dad hate me now?" Usually, Matthew would pick her up, but he wasn't there, and only other dads were picking up their children. She must have noticed something. Feeling as if my heart was tearing apart, I patted Natalie's head and said, "He is just busy with work. How about we go on a picnic this weekend?" Though her expression remained gloomy, Natalie nodded in agreement. I worked on weekdays too, so I felt bad that Natalie often felt lonely. I really wanted to create some time for her spend with Matthew. I thought I might have to seriously consider divorce if he continued to neglect her. The moment when I was deep in these thoughts, I was informed about a 3-day business trip. That night, I stayed up waiting for Matthew. He came home late, smelling of sweet perfume. He's surprised to find me still awake. Why are you up so late?" he asked, trying to gauge my reaction. I told him about my business trip and how lonely Natalie had been feeling lately. I needed his cooperation while I would be away for my trip. Our parents live far away, so I couldn't ask them for help. I was worried about what I would do if he refused. Contrary to my worries, Matthew suggested something unexpected. "If you're going on a business trip, maybe Natalie and I should go on a trip too." A trip? I couldn't hide my surprise at my husband's suggestion. I never thought that Matthew, who had hardly been involved in parenting since Natalie was born, would suggest going on a trip with Natalie. I haven't had much time with Natalie recently. If she's feeling lonely, I'll go on a trip with her. I'll take days off, so you can go on your business trip without worrying us. Thank you. Please take care of Natalie. I was so happy that I smiled at Matthew for the first time in a while. All right, now that it's settled, I need to think about where to stay. Saying this, he began browsing travel websites. When I told Natalie, her face lit up. Really? A trip with Dad? Yay. I'm so excited. Seeing Natalie's excited face made me smile too. Maybe divorce can wait. With that thought, I left for my business trip. My first business trip since giving birth went smoother than I had anticipated. Work finished smoothly, and I was able to return home a day earlier than planned. Knowing my husband, he probably hadn't done any laundry or dishes. I would clean up, then go shopping. I thought about these things on my way home. I was excited to see Natalie's happy face, but when I finally arrived home, I found Natalie with a tear-stained face. I rushed to her. "Natalie, what's wrong? Are you feeling sick? Where's Dad?" I looked around the room, but Matthew was nowhere to be seen. There was no sign of anyone else but Natalie and me. Did he go to a grocery store or something? I couldn't believe he would leave Natalie alone. While I was irritated by my husband's irresponsible behavior, I was relieved that Natalie was safe and hugged her tightly. Then, Natalie began to tell me something beyond my expectations. Dad said he would take me out, but he left me alone and went out by himself. It was dark at night, and I was scared being all alone. Wait, what did she just say? Was Natalie alone in the house this whole time? My heart was pounding so hard it felt audible. Natalie, feeling reassured by my return, started to breathe softly in my arms, asleep. She must have been too scared to sleep. I couldn't believe it. Shaking with anger, I grabbed my phone. "Hello, where are you now?" I asked my husband in a low voice, barely holding back my urge to scream. Whoa, Amanda. How's your trip? I'm on a trip with Natalie. Unaware that Natalie was in my arms, Matthew casually lied. I knew that was all lie. I knew he was on a trip with his mistress. I was speechless at his blatant lies. Without any suspicion, Matthew continued. This hotel is amazing. The food is great, and the pool is huge. I wish we could stay more. Matthew was enjoying his affair trip while leaving his daughter at home. This must be his true nature. I couldn't think of him as my husband anymore. The moment I heard his words, all my hesitation disappeared. That's good. Why don't you stay another night or two? I found myself saying that. I didn't care how many nights he stayed. You can stay longer. To that, Matthew sounded unsure. But Amanda, you'll be back tomorrow, right? It'll be lonely without me and Natalie around, so I guess I'll go back. That was just an excuse. If I got back home first, he would be caught for leaving Natalie alone. He was only trying to get back before me. Understanding Matthew's intentions, I decided to lie. Actually, there's been a little trouble, and it looks like I'll be back later than planned. I might have to stay an extra night or two. So don't worry about me. Enjoy your trip as long as you like. Matthew didn't doubt my lie. Really? Maybe I'll extend the trip by one more night, then. Natalie is having a blast, and it's nice to spend some time with her. Make sure you contact me once you know when you're going back. It was obviously a lie. I wish I could tell him never to come back. Suppressing my anger, I responded with okay. It was time to take action. After putting Natalie to bed, I hurriedly started preparing to move. Hello. Can you help me move my stuff right now? Right now? Yes, there isn't much. I called a mover and asked them to come immediately. Fortunately, it was off-season, so I got an easy booking. Natalie woke up due to the noise when the mover arrived. Feeling resolute, I told her, I have decided to say goodbye to your dad. Goodbye. Yes. I don't want to make you feel lonely anymore. So, I'm going to quit my job and move to your grandma and grandpa's house. Then we can spend more time together. Yay. If we go to your grandma and grandpa's house, we won't see your dad anymore. What do you want to do? It was cruel to ask such a question to my 3-year-old daughter, but I wanted to know her opinion. Natalie's voice was barely a whisper. Will I never see Dad again? Looking into Natalie's eyes, brimming with tears, I gently asked her. Yes. But if you don't want to be apart from Dad, I will reconsider. I want to know what you want. I wanted to fulfill Natalie's wishes, as she was innocent in all this. If she still wants to see Matthew, I would have to consider visitation. I wondered if Matthew would make time for her after the divorce, though. Lost in my farts, Natalie's answer stopped me. I'll go with you. Dad probably doesn't care about me. Even when I cried and begged him not to leave, he ignored me. Natalie said such things because of Matthew, who chose the affair trip over her. It was my fault for making her feel this way. I shouldn't have left her with Matthew for the business trip. I should have divorced him without hesitation. I'm sorry, Natalie. Thank you. Holding Natalie tightly, I began helping with the move. Later, I contacted my Phil for the first time in a while. He is a well-known local mob boss, famous for his generosity and loyalty. Matthew left home because he couldn't stand his strict father, but he struggled to live on his own, and ended up relying on his father's support. Even the company he worked at that time was through his father's introduction. My Phil adores Natalie. He built us a house as a wedding gift and showered Natalie with all sorts of baby items since she was born. I tearfully explained everything to him, including Matthew's affair trip, my farts on divorce, and my decision to leave the house he had built for us. After hearing everything, he said without hesitation, I got it. I'll put that house up for sale. It's in my name anyway. I won't give that foolish son of mine a place to return to. He continued, clearly outraged. When the house sells, you can take the money. It's the least I can do to make amends. I feel terrible for what Natalie has gone through. If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to ask. As I tearfully expressed my gratitude, he said cheerfully, leave Matthew to me. I will send him and his mistress far away. I was just thinking about how we needed more hands there. Thanks to my Phil, I could focus solely on moving without any further worries. 2 days later, my phone rang. What the hell is this? Matthew yelled so loudly I almost wanted to pull the phone away from my ear. Why is my house being sold? Where are you? What about my stuff? You know something, don't you? As Matthew panicked, I confronted him with the truth. I asked your father to sell the house. Your belongings have all been sent to your parents' house. He still didn't seem to understand, continuing to yell. What are you doing? What am I supposed to do now? Don't leave me behind. I even bought you souvenirs. And what about Natalie? She's crying because the house is gone. He still thought I didn't know about his lies. And he even dared to mention Natalie. I couldn't hold back any longer. Enough is enough. Natalie is crying. She's right here beside me, not crying. We don't need your souvenirs or you. I'm divorcing you. I raised my voice in anger. Are you telling me not to leave you behind? Don't make me laugh. You left your own daughter to go on a trip with your mistress. Natalie is only 3 years old. Do you understand the fear she felt, left alone at home? Compared to her fear, losing the house is nothing. Why don't you go live with your mistress? To that, he started to falter. How did you know that? You thought I wouldn't notice. Coming home every night wearing women's perfume, barely spending any time with your family. How could I not suspect? I've known for a long time. I held back for Natalie's sake, but it was foolish of me. He pleaded, wait, divorce is not good for me. You know what my father is like, right? If he finds out about my affair, I don't know what will happen to me. That's none of my business anymore. Even in this situation, Matthew was only thinking about himself. He didn't seem to feel any remorse for leaving Natalie, lying to me, or the affair itself. My anger surged, and I lashed out at him. Do you have any idea what you've done? From start to finish, you betrayed your family. You deserve to face consequences. Wait, I was wrong. I'll be in trouble if my father gets serious. Please help me. Too bad for you. Your father will make sure you're punished in my place. That's why I contacted him. Your scary father you're so afraid of. What should I do? I'll be in trouble. Serves you right. Take this opportunity to learn your lesson. And of course, I'll be demanding alimony from you and your mistress. Don't forget child support for Natalie. Goodbye. I cut off the call without waiting for a response, satisfied. Within a week of that call, alimony was deposited into my account from Matthew and his mistress. The amount had an extra zero. I thought my Phil made them pay so. I heard that Matthew and his mistress are out at sea, having borrowed money from my Phil to pay me alimony. They are working off that debt even now. It seems they are being forced to endure grueling labor all day on a fishing boat with no escape. He betrayed his family. He deserves this. I'll make sure they learn their lesson, my Phil said with a sly smile. Later, I received the money from the house sale from the real estate agency. Just as my Phil said, the house sold as desired. Now, I can live without working for a while. After divorcing Matthew, I moved back to my parents' house. Natalie and I visit my ex-Phil once a month. Hi Grandpa. How are you? Toe, you're here. Let's play together today. I love you, Grandpa. You're so kind. He always prepares toys for Natalie, and she looks forward to seeing him. I'm truly grateful to have such a strong ally. With him by my side, being a single mother doesn't seem daunting at all. Watching Natalie play happily with him, I'm reassured that my decision was right. With his help, Natalie and I will continue to live strong.